My name is Dan Lietha. I'm a cartoonist and illustrator. And today I've been thinking about doing somewhat of a cartoon drawing feature. I know a lot of young artists, maybe other older artists too, during the summertime will have more time on their hands. And I thought, why not do like a little drawing feature, draw along with me type of thing, so you could watch some of the videos, set them up. I'll do some of these I'm thinking out loud here. I really haven't formulated what this might be, so just kind of bear with me. If you hear any ideas that you think, oh, that sounds good, write them in the comments below, and let me know what what ideas sound good to you. How many artists you have in your house, maybe ages and stuff like that, just so I can gear things for a particular audience. Although I'll have to kind of be general, because if you've got some younger ones and there's some older ones, I'll try to make everybody happy, kind of. But and then some of these might be too fast for some people, or vice versa. So um, again, just thinking out loud here. But today I want to draw an elephant and give you a taste of maybe what it might be like to have this drawing feature. So, and that's another thing too. I'd probably pick an animal. Um, and and then just kind of draw it maybe in different styles and talk about it a little bit. And if you guys want to, on the live ones, you can ask questions. And let's set that up so I can see the questions. So let's get drawing this elephant. And perhaps, boy, I don't know, I'm thinking maybe maybe this could be like a daily thing during the week. um Pick a time, maybe lunchtime or something like that. I mean, I work during the day, so this would be a little on the side type of thing. But I thought it would just be fun for a summertime option to go to. And again, if some of these are live, some of them are going to have to be recorded if I start doing this on a regular basis, because um, I I'll be away during different times and busy at different times. So here's our elephant. And what I want to do is kind of let's start with a pencil. Okay, so pencil sketch. My pencil is digital, and I'm going to choose blue. So if your pencil is gray, which it usually is, then don't get too confused by the difference. What we're going to do here is we're going to look for basic shapes. All right, so let me move this elephant reference photo down so I can draw over the top of it, kind of point some things out. Of course, you've got the trunk shape, which is something we're gonna pick on. But what's the general shape of the head? What I'm seeing is kind of an oval. Okay, so what I like to do is work with general shapes, do those, and then add the details later on. So we got these elephant ears, which this one goes kind of like that. And then it's kind of like a half of a heart shape. So once you've got that down, then you've got the trunk, which curls around here. And then the only two, and we're mainly just doing the head for this one. Again, this is just a early try it out, think out loud type of thing. Got the eye, which is right there, a little elephant eyelid. And then it's kind of funny because this elephant kind of seems to be smiling. So you got his mouth, his lower lip, and then the tusk is actually a tooth. Did you know that? All right, so it comes out of the mouth where the teeth are. It's just really big, and so it shoots out from the upper lip. There you go. So let's let's make the reference go away. And there you've got the elephant head just in basic shapes. So we're going to work with those basic shapes. I want to make those go away. In fact, well, let's do this. We're going to move those. Let's see, I'll shrink them down a little bit. And there we go. So you got my little picture there, but you got the kind of the reference of what we're working with. And for cartooning, you kind of play with the size of those things. So we're going to start out with that oval that we did. All right, so we've got the oval. So everyone draw an oval there. I'm going to try not to go too fast so that you guys can keep up with me, because this is a draw along feature. So the oval, again, the pencil sketch does not have to be perfect. So if your oval is a little different than mine is, that's not a mistake. That's fine. And then my lines there didn't quite meet up. And this is just the guide for inking in the future. So we're going to make our pencil sketch, and then we'll ink over the top of it. And if you've seen me draw before, I'll usually lighten my line artwork. Now that ear, like I said, is kind of a half heart. The elephant ears are real big, so we're going to make this one real big, exaggerate that. And then I'm going to adjust my oval a little bit. There's some really cool, it's curved here on mine. I want to make it a little more straight, so I'm going to go down like that. And I'm going to exaggerate see the tusk. It's right about the skin where the tusk is coming out is right about there. All right, so we're going to go back, and then it goes right into the smile. It's not really a smile, but it looks like a smile on the elephant. So we're going to make them happy. And then I'm going to exaggerate the size of, hey, my friend from Canada. Yeah, I kind of thought you would pop in there, so good to see you. We got the elephant trunk, or the tusk. I'm going to draw the top of it, and I'm going to exaggerate the size of it a little bit and make it thick. And I want it to curve a little bit more. This is our sketch section, so we can, everyone get that in there like that. Okay. And let's see, we've got that lower lip right about there. Goes up, and then the rest of the jawline, I guess, would go behind the ear. All right, and then the trunk, the other side of the trunk comes out right about here. So I like to draw little dots, or like indicators of that spot. All right, so we get a thickness idea. And then when we go down, the trunk is going to go thinner, thinner, thinner as you go towards the bottom. Okay. So again, just pencil sketch. Right down to there. All right. Pretty easy to do. I'm going to make it a little thicker. We're going to ink that a little later on. So, but then what happens is it twists around, or curves around. So the end of the trunk, then, I don't really see it. He's got some straw or some grass in there that he's eating. So we're just going to draw the end of the trunk like that. And you can put something in there if you want. In fact, I'm gonna do that. Just spur of the moment idea came to mind. I'm gonna draw right there, and then can actually draw this all the way through. And then I'm going to draw around right there. Then I'm going to draw a point. Again, pencil lines don't have to be exact. It's kind of funny that I said pencil lines because that's what this is. He's holding a large pencil. Just making it up as I go here. All right. Now, one thing you'll notice too about the elephant trunk is, and we'll add this detail later on, but it's got a lot of like these wrinkles or these lines in it that look really, really cool. So hang on to your patience and we'll get back to it. But right here at the top of the ear, kind of goes up like that. And some of the structure to the ear. So if you put those lines in, that goes along with it. It's kind of like it's got a little arm there in the ear type of thing that it uses to move back and forth. And then it'll flap the ears out, move them back as the elephant wants to hear or fan itself, because it uses the ears for like a cooling mechanism too. God has designed them to live in warmer areas. So we got some wrinkles there. Try not to add too much detail here before we finish the basics. But okay, so right above the mouth, where the mouth kind of comes to an end, there's almost like a cheekbone right here, right? So I can kind of continue that up from the smile that we put on our elephant. And then the eye goes right about here. So I'm going to draw an eye right there. And then what I like to do too is add kind of like a brow, not an eyebrow like you have on your face, but like a ridge type of thing. All right, so happy elephant. In fact, you can make that eye even happier by putting the line like that. So you kind of cut off the bottom of the roundness there. Let's see if I can get my, am I on the right layer? There we go. So you see how that looks, makes the elephant look happier. And then we'll have this guy looking, oh wait, he's got kind of a, let's see how an eyelid looks. Open eye is kind of fun. All right, yeah, we'll keep that. Looks good. In fact, what I like to do sometimes too is add a little thing up on top, and gives the eye some more shape and expression type of thing. But here's the pencil in the eye, the pupil. I'm not going to really make an iris and such, but we're going to leave a little oval there. Am I going too fast? So little circle there with a circle inside it, and that little circle is where the light is reflecting off the pupil. Okay, and then we can kind of color that in at this pencil sketch stage. All right, and let's see, it's coming along. I think coming along pretty well. Sketching some more like a squiggle line there. There's some detail on the ear, and that ear, when we ink this in, it's not like the clean shaped line that we made here. So we'll kind of account for that. But now down to the trunk. One thing I noticed too is there's like I'll put a little line there for some of the shape for that tusk coming out of the face, and then there's the joints of the trunk. And I'm going kind of fast there. So what I'm doing is trying to indicate some shape that they're not just lines going straight across, but there's a little curve to them, and that gives a little shape, it makes the trunk not look so flat if you add some roundness to it. And so let's just continue to go down and do that, spacing out those joints in a sort of a consistent manner, although I might deviate from that when we now I got to figure out how that pencil is working for the inks. The pencil, I drew it through because things like this, if I just drew part of it and then continued it over here, um, it might not line up visually. So drawing it through really helps. And then I can erase this later on. So this curly part of the very end of the trunk is going over the pencil, so the pencil won't show there. Okay, and then this part of the trunk, the long part of the trunk, is actually going over the pencil too. So it's being held and then going on the other side. Okay, but the elephant trunk will not show there. Okay, so that'll help us out when we ink. Okay, so erasing is allowed, and I continue to. Oops, I'm still on my eraser. Digital problems, right? So we're again now see how I've made that there so that it looks like it's turning around. I'm not just keeping them straight or sticking with that same curve, right? And then when we come around, go like that. Okay, so that gives us a nice little twist look to the trunk. And so what do you think so far? I think it looks really nice. The elephants are fun to draw, and they're very, very interesting animals. So maybe what we'll do is, because it's just kind of a floating head here, we're not going to draw the rest of the elephant, but I can kind of draw like a little indication of that. And then the on the photo, the ear actually kind of continues to the back of the elephant. Now they're two different shapes, but the top of the ear lines up with the back line. Okay, so I've exaggerated my elephant ear to be bigger because I wanted it to. The African elephants have really big ears. Okay, so I wanted this guy to have really, really big ears. So the back of the elephant is actually going to be a bit different on my elephant. So there's the line right there. And what I'm going to assume, it's kind of dark in there, but I think that's kind of like the chest area of the elephant. So this line right here would be the leg on the other side. And then this is the other leg in front. So just to give kind of a little indication of what's going on here, but the main subject matter is the elephant itself, the head and the the face and the trunk and such. So what I'm going to do now at this stage is tell you about a couple things that I do to give you some time to finish up the pencil stage in case you're still doing that. One thing is that I draw for a ministry called Reasons for Hope, and I have a feature called Draw It and Know It. And that's also another really fun thing to draw along with. It's a little different in that I go a little faster, and then you can stop and start the video as you want. And some of those are maybe a little easier than the ones that I'm doing here. So keep that in mind. But I also give coloring instruction and then a lesson on the design of the animal from a biblical point of view. So if you go to Reasons for Hope on YouTube, you can find those. And we also have an app that you can download for your phone. Type in Reasons for Hope, look for a little blue asterisk symbol, download that app, and then along with all kinds of other teaching materials like talks and lectures and all kinds of great Christian content, I have my Draw It and Know It's in the kids section. So go down to that and you'll find about 35 or so Draw It and Know It lessons. And you can do those anytime, and they're a lot of fun. I'm going to be coming out with a bunch of new ones in the future, so keep that in mind. But this is a bit of a different feature that maybe the two can kind of go along, because I'm still drawing from a Christian point of view, although I won't be talking about so much of the design features in this particular project. All right, so here's my pencil sketch, and I am let's see, I'm going to make them lighter so we can do our inks. So get your oops, I gotta have an ink layer. There we go. All right, so I'm going to change my coloring from blue to black. Sometimes I use red instead of blue, so it just depends on the day or maybe how I'm feeling or whatever. But and I'm going to do something here too that maybe you can't do so much, and well, you can't, because if you're on a piece of paper, if you're drawing on an iPad or something, then maybe you can do this sort of thing. But I'm going to zoom in to give myself a better look at the detail. And I'm going to try to do some thick and thin lines, which again, you might not be able to do with your marker, but if you have something in the future which you could use to do the thick and thin, then that would be fine too. But don't feel bad if you can't copy me exactly with this artwork. All right, so I want to start with the brow ridge that I put on the eye, and we're going to go. And actually, for a pencil sketch, this is pretty tight. There's not a lot of sketch stuff, so the trunk will probably have a lot more difference from the ink lines to the pencil lines type of thing. But all right, we're gonna draw the front curve of the eye first. Stop right there, and then we're gonna draw the cheek, where the cheek would influence the bottom of the eye, so that it looks more like a smiley eye. There we go. And then the back of the eye. I want to redo that. Again, one of those things I can do in digital. There we go. So, are you guys able to keep up with me? Let me know how my speed is doing, and I can try to adjust that in future videos. One other thing I'm thinking about doing is I've got my Dan Lietha cartoonist illustrator channel here, and this feature in and of itself probably I can talk, probably would make its own channel. I can have it as a feature on this channel, or I could make a different channel for just these videos. So let me know what you think. I know I have a lot of subscribers that maybe if there were a bunch of these videos that were popping up, they might not like it so much, or maybe they wouldn't mind. I don't know. It is still my artwork, so. But one struggle that I've been having is trying to come up with content that I can do easily, because I'm so busy with all kinds of other things. So it's just something I want to keep producing and showing people I'm still alive and doing stuff. But it can be kind of tough sometimes when I've got all kinds of other deadlines and my energy is just gone some days. So artwork is work. And all right, so we're going to draw this cheek line. Yeah, I think we'll draw it as one single line down here. There we go. And then again, this line is pretty much what I'm going to do. So now we're going to start with the line right here where the trunk and this flap of skin, maybe that's kind of the like the upper lip type of thing that is the cover for the trunk. So we're gonna do the this line right here first. All right, ready? Here we go. There we go, nice and clean. I was talking with a young artist not so long ago. He and his father were visiting from Minnesota, and he was watching me draw some of these lines here, on a drawing like this maybe. And he was saying, "Boy, you draw so like on purpose type of thing." And I noticed in his drawings that he was very sketchy, and he drew very light lines. Like his drawings were super light. And I think at the stage that he was in, he was kind of afraid to commit. And as you get older and you draw more and you become more confident, you just have a better idea of where those lines are going to go. So I just encouraged him to get some darker pencils and make some darker areas and draw those lines in dark and build that confidence. So, all right. So let's see. We got the bottom lip, which it's kind of funny that it goes down kind of sharp like that, but it does that in the photo. So, being a cartoon interpretation, I suppose I could change that, but I kind of like the way it looks anyway. So, and then this is where the chin, the bottom of the jaw type of thing goes back to where the ear is. All right, so let's back this up and see how we're doing. So I can't see my reference. That looks pretty good, I think. We're really going to use the reference on the trunk, the reference. So the top of the forehead and such, like I said, I changed it from that oval shape. That oval shape just got us kind of in the ballpark. And now I'm going to, it's got kind of a sharp drop. There it is, it drops right off. In fact, it goes like that a little bit where the trunk and the other eye on the other side are. There we go. And we're going to do the ear now. The trunk and that detail in the trunk, I think, are going to be the last thing that we do. So the length of time for these videos, as I'm thinking about it, might be around a half hour. Let's see. Jennifer says, I love doing at least one of these a week and catching up on Draw It and Know It with my kids over the summer. Hey, thank you for that comment. I don't know if you heard me say this earlier, but I haven't done Draw It and Know It's for about a year and a half, I think. I've been so busy with other things. I was speaking last summer and all kinds of stuff. And I'm going to be heading into a busy season with speaking and such this summer too. Got a couple Bible camps I'll be speaking at. And so if I do a feature like this, I want it to have something that I could just find a photo of an animal or something. And I'm open to suggestions. So if you have a particular topic that you want me to draw, send an idea my way, make a comment or whatever. Let me know what that is, and I can say, hey, I can draw that and show you how to draw it. So, and but yeah, I haven't done Draw It Notes for a while, but I have a couple, two of them so far that are not published that you haven't seen, and I'm planning on doing some more. And we've got some more good Draw It instruction and Know It instruction type stuff coming up too, from Reasons for Hope. So. If you get on the Reasons for Hope Facebook page, drop a comment, let them know that you like the feature and such. So, all right, so the ear comes around, and then on the other side where the squiggle lines that I drew are, those are kind of where the ear kind of folds and flaps. I think it's kind of thinner there. So, and I got to see where my hand is going here. So, we're going to start right about here. And then the end of it is a little round. Goes back up and it meets that right there. And that's not perfect, but that's fine. And then let's go back in, and the squiggle lines kind of represent the feel for the edge of that ear pretty well, I think. Sounds like my wife just came home from the grocery store, so you guys might hear some noises in the background, but that's fine. This is kind of an informal type of thing. Now there's the side of the elephant's head. Yep, she's home. And then the ear continues up. All right. Everyone say hi to Marcia. She's home. Hi. I'm drawing right now, so. And then that thicker part of the ear that has some muscle to it, right about there. And then it's got some, again, forgive me if I'm going too fast, but there, I'll give you some time. It looks like that structure underneath has some form to it, and I don't want to say it's like a bird wing or a bat's ear, but it kind of reminds me of that type of thing where the elephant can move it back and forth and flap the ears around. So I'm not saying that birds and elephants and bats are related. Not an evolutionist. Not that they specifically say that either, but let's just say in our worldviews that they ultimately believe that everything is related to everything, that it all goes back to the same thing on a chart, and a creationist would disagree. And there's actually a little extra line here I want to draw on the corner of the mouth. There we go. One other thing that you'll see in my videos that I like to do from time to time is to add little bits of shadow, because it helps give more form. So I see some opportunity to do that here. One is there's a thickness to this this upper lip over the trunk. Okay, so it would cast a shadow if the light source was from up in this corner. It would cast a shadow right here. So we're going to add that in there. You see how that gives a little more 3D-ish look? And then the same is true for right about there. And then maybe some where the cheek is right there. And maybe some right here. And there's another spot. Oh, this is, I want to zoom in on this one. Another spot right here. So just in general, there's probably a couple more I could pick on, but I think that really helps pop things out or give a bit of a indication of form that I like a lot. So I tend to do that sort of thing. And now, okay, well, let's finish the back and the chest and the indication of the legs. So it's pretty straightforward from what we drew already. And so any more ideas about if I did a feature for the summer? Like I said, I could take like a lunch half hour, and have a photo kind of ready to go and just start sketching with you live. And that would give you an opportunity to, I'm going to put a little more shadow in here, and then a cast shadow right there. That would give me an opportunity to give you some content fairly easy to produce because it's just look at a photo and draw it and then just talk about it. And hopefully that would be a fun thing for young artists to participate in and draw along. And then if most of my audience isn't live, you can start and stop the video as you need to. So let me know what you think, and then pass this on to some friends if you've got people with young artists in the house and they need something to do over the summer and they want a artist that they can trust. Now, a lot of these would be children, kids, younger, but again, this could be an adult that wants to learn how to do some cartooning and some drawing like that. So okay, so the trunk will kind of go something like that. Okay, so there's another opportunity for some shadow, which we'll put in afterwards. But I'm going to go back and forth. Let's see, these lines really don't go all the way across. So they go something like that. And then we're gonna do the edge of the trunk after I finish these lines, and that where I put these lines will affect the shape, the outline of the trunk. Kind of go back and forth using the guidelines that we've put already to help me know where these ink lines go. Now, as we get down to the bottom, as the trunk curves around the creases, I guess those lines are more on this inside of the curve side. All right, so go down, and then wherever there's a line, kind of do this. So, and then if you've got your lines for the trunk already drawn in right here, you don't necessarily have to follow me line by line. Okay, there's some areas on here that if you try to follow me line by line, you're going to drive yourself a little crazy. So just draw your own lines in there for those wrinkle crease areas of the trunk. And then I've given you kind of the formula for what works here. So we start drawing a line here and then connect it to that wrinkle. And then just keep going down the trunk like that. So again, you don't have to watch me line by line do this. And then that'll help everybody because I don't want to have to go that slow. Higher detail areas that I didn't intend for you to draw line by line anyway. And then I didn't draw any connecting lines to the outside of the curve part of the trunk. So what I want you to do here is just kind of draw like a little bumpy line. Kind of indicates that the trunk's not smooth and it keeps going around. And then there's some bumps here. Trunks, if you look up the detail on trunks, they're so cool. I forget how many hundreds of muscles there are in the trunk. All right, so let's see. Let's draw the pencil in first because the other lines are going to influence the trunk. And I want to make sure that the pencil doesn't get interfered with. So we've got the eraser there. This elephant is very artist friendly. In fact, maybe this elephant wants to be an artist or something. I don't know if you've ever seen the videos of elephants that in foreign countries they train them to draw and paint. I actually talk about that in some of my talks. And I try to differentiate that from the creativity that God has given humans versus elephants and other animals. Just in summary, what that would be is that I think animals have been given a measure of creativity, but in the instances where you're seeing an elephant draw another elephant or a flower or a tree or some sort of a scene, and then even write their name, the images that are on the paper that the elephant are trained to draw line by line are meaningless to the elephant. The elephant doesn't know what that is. They just know that this line goes here, this line goes here, this line goes here. The audience thinks that's wonderful. Look, he's drawing an elephant, but the elephant is just thinking, I want my reward after I get done drawing the way that you've taught me to draw whatever this is. So it's a completely different thing for an elephant. Now, one thing you might notice here is that there's only one tusk visible in the photo. Now, does that mean that the elephant only has one tusk? No, I think that just means that those two tusks are lined up, and so you can't see the other one, which looks a little odd in my cartoon. So what we might want to do is draw an indication of the other tusk. So I didn't draw a pencil guideline for that because I just thought of it just now. There we go. And I think that adds, again, look at the depth that kind of adds. The one tusk was sort of a flat type of thing, but you put that second one in there, even though you don't see it in the photo. And I think it livens up the depth of the drawing. And then I'm going to draw a little more shadow underneath here. In fact, it could add little thicknesses to some of those segments to give some more depth. So something like that. So there's our elephant. Let's see. I'm going to make my sketch go away. Well, actually, here, let me do this again. This is all live on the fly, making it up as I go. So we've got the inks there. Those are our sketches. So again, the sketch was actually pretty close to the final. But there's there we go. So there's the final ink art, and I'm not going to color. I won't have enough time for that during these sessions. If you guys want to color it yourselves and then have some fun with doing that, you can see the photo here. It's something to go on as far as colors go, and have some fun this summer. But after every drawing, what you need to do is you need to sign it. So I'm going to sign my drawing. Let's put the signature on its own layer. So Dan Lietha. And then something that I've added lately, I don't do this all the time, but I have a website. So sometimes I'll throw in a little .com. So you guys can find my website on at danletha.com. And there's all kinds of resources and information and things I'll be adding to that this summer. But you can find out some more things about me and samples of my artwork and different places to find my artwork. And so it's a work in progress, but I'm thankful to have a website too. So let me know what you think about these ideas. Should I do a feature this summer and have certain days, or maybe Monday through Friday, or however this turns out? Would that be a help for people that have young artists at home? And I think it would be a great feature to do, and I'll try to keep it within about a half hour. I don't know how long I've been. We've been going for about 45 minutes here, so maybe I'd reduce it. I did a lot of extra talking about maybe what if this is a possibility type stuff. So anyway, thank you for watching. And oh wait, Jennifer. Oh wait, no, she already read her comment. So thanks for watching. and have a great rest of your weekend. Bye.